You are listening to the Political Periscope, a weekly podcast brought to you by Radio WNET. Interviews on international politics, security, geopolitics, economy and more, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Today's interview is part of Radio WNET's project on the Bucharest Nine, the countries of NATO's eastern flank. Our guest is Simona Cojocaru, Secretary of State in the Romanian Defense Ministry. Political Periscope.
Good morning.
Good morning, dzień dobry.
Zrobiła pani przed chwilą notatkę jakąś na kartce.
You have just made a note on a piece of paper. Does it refer to the B9 summit, which will soon start in Bucharest?
Yes, right. You are perfectly right. B9 is going to happen very soon. I mean, the summit of our leader. Actually, this week, the whole week is dedicated to B9. We had organized at the beginning of the week, more precisely Monday, B9 Defense Ministerial, hosted by Poland and Romania in a virtual format. And of course, the meeting of our leaders at the end of the week will be, the most important event in relation with the B9 to have such an important summit.
What do we expect from the Leaders' Summit?
It's, as I said, it's a very, very important meeting. B9 has become a very important framework lately by overall efforts of strengthening the regional defense, on strengthening the defense, the collective defense on the eastern flank, which is very, very much important nowadays. And at the end of the day, promoting cohesion and trust amongst the member states of B9 and reinforcing our military capabilities and resilience in order to better be prepared for the threats, risks and challenges.
The Bucharest summit is a preparation to the Madrid summit. Will the B9 go to Madrid with common demands? What will those demands be?
You are perfectly right. The B9 summit, also the B9 Defense Ministerial, these are milestones in preparing the NATO summit in Madrid. I would like also to mention that next week our defense ministers will be also in Brussels for a new meeting at the defense level. So there is such a intense time frame in preparing our summit end of June in Madrid. Right. Important decisions to be taken in Madrid, and of course our B9 leaders will gather this Friday in Bucharest to have a common voice, at the NATO table in supporting our interests, our views, our regional perspective amongst the other allies.
There are two urgent issues to solve. The first one is the security of the NATO's eastern flank, which means strengthening bases, strengthening NATO forces on the eastern flank, including in Romania and Poland. And the second one is the victory of Ukraine. Let's start with the first one. How should NATO strengthen its eastern flank?
After the invasion by the Russian Federation of Ukraine on 24th of February, NATO reinforced massively the presence on the eastern flank, together with the bilateral presence of our strategic partners. And I will offer you a couple of examples. In Romania, the spearhead force of NATO, part of the NRF, NATO Response Force, has been deployed on the shore of the Black Sea in Mihail Cogălnicianu Air Base, MK in short. Moreover, we have been deployed troops for the enhanced vigilance activities, for the enhanced air policing. So there is a massive deployment of forces on the eastern flank that equals with strengthening deterrence and defense posture. These measures are taken, if you like, for the first time in modern times in modern history of the alliance. So we are talking about the biggest reinforcement of collective defense. We are very much prepared here in Romania, also in Poland, on the eastern flank. And moreover, we probably you know very well that on the occasion of the NATO Extraordinary Summit back in March, end of March, our leaders took very important decision to set up 4 new additional battle groups in Bulgaria, Hungary, Romania, and Slovakia.
But those were reactions, and the Madrid summit is supposed to build a new security architecture for the eastern flank and the entire NATO after the Russian aggression. And what will be new at this NATO summit if we are saying that this summit has historical meaning?
The strategic concept. This is the fundamental document that the alliance is going to approve at the summit. Our leaders will approve the new strategic concept that should direct comprehensive allied effort to effectively face this deteriorated security environment in which we are now living. We are talking about a radical transformation of the strategic environment, so the alliance should be prepared to face this new challenge, this new risk and threats in and around the Euro-Atlantic area. So indeed, this is going to be the major deliverable of the Madrid summit, and Romania, as well as Poland and other countries on the eastern flank, insists very much on having a specific reference to the risk and threats amongst Russia is the most active right now towards the alliance. And also we are very much focusing our efforts in getting a strong language on strengthening deterrence and defense on the eastern flank from the Baltic to the Black Sea.
Black Sea, Baltic Sea, a big change. Sweden and Finland joining NATO. Here, B9 is unanimous. Do you think that it will be possible to convince Turkey to allow Sweden and Finland to join NATO?
Our leaders, for sure, will take into consideration the Finland and Sweden membership to NATO. This is a topic very much under our MFA's, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and our leaders' attention. We from the defense side of the house, we are very much, supporting the efforts made by our colleagues in the foreign ministries, to get the consensus in relation with Turkey's position. Very recently, we had a trilateral meeting, Romania, Poland, and Turkey in Istanbul. Our foreign ministers were there. I know that our ministers had the opportunity to have a conversation with President Erdogan on this topic. We have followed also the declarations by our Secretary General, by NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, approaching these topics very recently, and about the diplomatic efforts to get the consensus.
So, will it work?
We are very much positive.
We talked about the Baltic Sea when we were in Tallinn, Riga and Vilnius. Since being in Slovakia and visiting Bratislava, we are talking about the Black Sea. How is the NATO supposed to secure its interests in the Black Sea? What is Romania doing to bring peace on this sea?
Romania is very much advocating the importance of the Black Sea in the current context of the invasion of the Russian Federation in Ukraine. Black Sea is a strategic sea. It is used as a platform of projecting power by the Russian Federation beyond. But right now, the Black Sea is very much under pressure. Amongst the scenarios that are right now very high under our consideration, apart from the offensive of the Russian armed forces in the east of Ukraine, in Donbass. There is the second one directed towards the south of Ukraine. And I'm referring here to Odessa, being a very strategic point in their plans, and also the coastline of Ukraine and the Black Sea access. Probably you know, just after 24 of February, one of the first strategic points taken by Russian armed forces was the Snakes Island. This is a very strategic focal point in the Black Sea, having the potential to survey, to control the Black Sea northern part. The Snake Island is very close to the Romanian shore. We are very much concerned about the Russian capabilities deployed there. And we are saying that it's important to stay united and to be ready to support our efforts here at the Black Sea in enhancing deterrence and defense. One of the worst case scenarios would also be the access or the land corridor between Donbass and Republic of Moldova, and also the access of the Russian Federation to mouth of Danube. Practically, in this scenario, Romania will have a land frontier which is totally acceptable with Russian Federation.
Pytam o Morze Czarne, bo
I am asking about the Black Sea because it is obviously a strategic sea. On the other hand, I left Globsec, which took place in Bratislava, with the conviction that if the war spreads beyond the territory of Ukraine, it will be onto the Black Sea and the access to the port of Odessa. Do you agree with such a statement, with such danger?
I was also part in Globsec last week in Bratislava. Very, very good and very, insightful debates there. I was myself a speaker in one of the panels in Bratislava. So I like to say that Black Sea is indeed very important, as you said. And we are taking into consideration different scenarios, as I previously mentioned, and one is indeed related to the access of the Russians to the Black Sea, practically controlling all the northern part of the Black Sea, like during the Cold War era, which is absolutely a worst case scenario. This impacts on security interests of Romania and not only of Romania, of NATO, generally speaking, of EU. And we do hope that this is not to be the case.
Not only Romania, not only NATO, but the whole world, because of the export of Ukrainian grain, depends on the unblocking of the port of Odessa, which in turn means stopping hunger in Africa.
What is happening now in Ukraine with this brutal, unprovoked and justified invasion has indeed multi-dimensional effects. And one is, of course, the food security, the cereals export, the cereals transportation is of very much concern. Probably you know that lately there were taken a lot of initiatives, steps at the diplomatic level. We have seen also the discussions very recently between the Turkish foreign minister Çavuşoğlu and the Russian foreign minister Lavrov just yesterday. And we are also very much concerned about this food security and the implications for the Middle East, Northern Africa countries, and at the global level at the end of the day.
In turn, a few days ago, we spoke with the Minister of Defense of Bulgaria, who stated that in the Black Sea, the Russians and Russian troops have a strategic and access advantage. Is that the case?
For the time being, there is not the case. again, we are very much concerned about the evolutions here at the Black Sea and about Ukrainians that will have no access in the Black Sea. This is very much concerning. And if you mentioned Bulgaria, we are very much cooperating with our Bulgarian friends and also with Turkey, free allies, free NATO allies here, Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey, and we have to stay united in front of the challenges here at the Black Sea.
That is, of course, a very political question, but is Turkey such a reliable and loyal partner in NATO?
Turkey is a very important ally, with a major contribution at the military level and also at the conceptual level. And we do hope to achieve together very, very important references at the Madrid summit in relation with the Black Sea and in relation with our common interests and views in relation with the situation in our region.
Just two more questions. The first one about Moldova. This is one of the biggest concerns in Romania. How to protect Moldova from Russian invasion and greed?
Just yesterday, the Minister of Defense of Republic of Moldova, Anatol Nosati, visited Romania. He was welcomed by my Minister of Defense, Mr. Dâncu, for a bilateral meeting here in the Ministry of Defense. We had a very insightful exchange of views in relation with the security situation also. And yes, the Republic of Moldova is vulnerable, is fragile, and this is the reason for what Romania is putting a lot of effort in helping increasing resilience, in helping increasing the defense capacities, building of this country, and I think we have to help more this country alongside Georgia also to be able to face challenges ahead. And moreover, Romania is one of the countries which is the strongest advocate of EU membership for Republic of Moldova. We have registered good progress lately, and we are very much positive.
I lied to you because there are still two more issues. What to do to make Ukraine win the war with Russia?
Ukraine has to be helped. And I think what the allies, also at NATO level, EU level, the international community did the past 3 months demonstrated that there is a great sense of unity and solidarity towards Ukraine at the different levels: humanitarian, military, economic, and not the least at the political level. So it's important to stay determined and to keep the course towards helping Ukraine and the brave people of Ukraine, and also, of course, the armed forces.
What to do with the information from Severodonetsk that Russian forces have a tenfold advantage?
Since the beginning of the invasion, we followed very, very thoroughly the evolution of the offensive, the counteroffensive of the forces, of the Russian forces and also of the Ukrainian forces. Just recall the speech of President Putin on 9th of May, on the anniversary of the Victory Day. And it wasn't spectacular at all. It wasn't triumphant at all. Because practically, we cannot talk by a success of the armed forces of Russian Federation right now in Ukraine. And we are very much hopeful and positive that Ukraine could win this war.
To conclude, two strongest countries in the B9, the Bucharest Nine, are obviously Poland and Romania. How are Polish-Romanian relations?
The bilateral relations between Poland and Romania are exceptional. We have an excellent strategic partnership. More recently, we concluded a new action plan, a renewed one for the next 4 years, 2022-2026. This was concluded at the level of our governments last March in Warsaw. So very important work strands included in this action plan. Moreover, I would like to say in couple of words that the cooperation between Romania and Poland, between Poland and Romania, is exceptional due to the fact that we are front runners here on the eastern flank, and not only due to this fact. Our cooperation comes from history, and I would like to recall to you the importance of the defensive alliance concluded more than 100 years ago towards Russia. The history, unfortunately, is repeating itself. And Romania and Poland were all the time here on the eastern flank to defend. And they were united. And I would like also to mention that we had incredible years in our bilateral relation. I was myself in Poland at the end of last month for a strategic dialogue round. I was also a speaker in Defense 24 forum. So we are very much, close in our contacts, which are very much intense. And I had mentioned the defensive alliance. This was a significant event to commemorate in our common history. And just yesterday, for your information, our Institute for Defense Political Studies and Military History received a very important award, the award Joseph Pilsudski for the book published last year on the occasion of the centennial of the Romanian-Polish Defensive Alliance. The award was granted by the historical journal Cultural Foundation based here in Bucharest. We are very much proud of.
This was the Political Periscope. The podcast is released every Thursday at 7 p.m.